rap-ish. I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list. Hope I ain't missing my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu. And I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody's south of Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and ponder getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
That Dre season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my old flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged a bond. And they already know what it is when I get on. To the hearse, party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I probably cracking my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete. I'm a verbal athlete, deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building. My whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
Hi, everybody. Grand rising to all of you out there. Welcome to a special edition of the Morning Update Show. We are here at the King County Elections Office, and we got an amazing show for y'all today. I'm your co-host, Trey Holiday, and I got to bring in my co-host with the most, Big O. What's up, Big O?
Trey Holiday.
Hey.
How are you? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning from the city of Renton. This is the first time that the Morning Update Show is broadcast live from Renton, Washington. And so happy to be out here. This is
absolutely. It's feeling good over here, and we've been welcomed so nicely. Thanks to everybody over here at the King County election staff. Been really gracious hosts over here.
No, they have been very gracious hosts, and it's good. Is we've got Director Wise on again today.
Yes.
And you know what that means is that if you haven't gotten your coffee yet, you don't need to, because Director Wise brings all the energy that you need, especially when it comes to voting. There's just a few days left, really, before the election closes. What's that, November 2nd? So we're going to be talking to Director Wise. We're going to hit a few things here today. I mean, of course, we're always encouraging people to vote, but we also want to talk about signatures. Signatures are a big deal. You know what I'm saying? And what's going on with that, and what to do if your signature does get challenged. And also something I know is near and dear to you, Trey Holiday, is restoration of voter rights.
Yes.
January 1st, there's a new law or an ordinance, or I'm sure Director Wise can tell us technically what it is, but the restoration of voting rights of people who are convicted of a felony. And so that's going to be occurring as well.
Yeah, I'm so excited to get into it with Director Wise. I mean, and as you said, I don't think I've ever met anybody who's as excited about the election process and elections as Director Wise. So you're right, you guys. We're in for a treat with that energy right here on the Morning Update Show.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I remember one of the best quotes from Director Wise last time was, "Don't be tardy to the
Yeah,
party."
your favorite.
So we clipped that out. It went viral. We were like, "Don't be tardy to the party." So we want to make sure that we're not tardy to the party here for Director Wise. Well, happened to it. It's been a minute since I've done this. So should I do it now?
Yeah, let's get into it. Oh,
Okay, let's see if I remember everything here. Good morning, everybody. I want to welcome you to the morning update show and remind you that right now is the perfect opportunity to tag and share the stream. Go ahead and tag and share the stream with people who you feel would appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating from right here in Renton, Washington. Want to give a big shout out to our partners over at the South Seattle Emerald and also KBCS 91.3 over at Bellevue College. Also want to remind everybody that you can listen to this special edition of the morning update show anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast. We're putting SoundCloud maybe in the links over there, but you can also catch us on Google, iTunes, Spotify, and other outlets there. This is usually the time, and we'll do it right now. We tell people that the COVID-19 vaccine is readily available throughout King County. We'll put a link in over there. If you need to get vaccinated, and my friend, today is October 25th, and what y'all bring up right here, this vaccination is serious business now in King County. First things first, though, link in the comments, man. If you need to get vaccinated, it's pretty quick these days, anywhere around King County. And if you're in a position where you need somebody to come to you, they can also come to you and bring you the vaccination to your house. But speaking of that, Trey holiday today is October 25th, and it's V-Day, vaccination day here in King County. Hey, don't play around. I went to go get a cup of coffee earlier this morning on First Avenue, and it was like, hey, if you want to be inside with this cup of coffee, then you're going to have to show proof of vaccination. So I would say this is, if you live here in King County, let's show some space and grace for the people that are on the front line over there, for your barista, for your cashier, for somebody who's a doorman. We need to show a lot of space and grace. They're in a brand new position now where they have to check people's vaccine cards and everything else. Man, let's approach that with a positive attitude.
yeah, I love that you put that message out there. Oh, because the truth of the matter is that, now it's on workers on the front lines to make sure that they're holding us accountable as a society. This is not something that we can berate them about. Again, they are just there to do their jobs. And as Omari said, this is new for all of us, honestly. And so for those of you who still feel, like, hey, you're not sure, you're on the fence about getting vaccinated, there's plenty of resources out there for you to learn more. Again, the vaccine being readily available. But I agree, we definitely need to be showing space and grace to those workers who now it's their job to hold us accountable.
Yeah, no, definitely. Oh, and we've got another thing in here too. As far as big announcements today, and we'll go ahead, Salman. We have an overlay over here. Proof. The city of Seattle is announcing a relief fund right now, and basically it's $1,000 for individuals. If you gotta live in the municipality of Seattle. So I'm sorry, Renton, but if you live in the municipality of Seattle and you're having a hard time out there, looks like they got quite a few millions of dollars that's available right now. It's called the Seattle Relief Fund. It's $1,000 per person, $3,000 per household. Families, they're targeting families, young people, and people in the arts and cultures. And you can go to seattlerelief.com. Mayor Durkin is making this announcement right now as we speak. So relief there, one-time relief. And this is open from right now to November 15th. So $1,000 for individuals, $3,000 for households. People can go to seattlerelief.com to get more information.
Yeah, this is important. I mean, again, so many adjustments have had to be made as we've all been dealing with the effects of COVID-19. And this is another opportunity for there to be a direct cash injection into the households for the city of Seattle. And the truth is that even though this is a marker for Seattle, I think it also sets a precedence for other cities to be able to follow. This creates a model when we think about how it is that we're really showing up for our families. This has been hit by so many of us financially, and I'm glad that the city of Seattle has saw a real need and is doing this direct investment right now to families. It's really important. But also all these other cities, Renton included, where we are today, hey, take note of how Seattle is shaping up and showing up for its families and its residents. I think that, again, it sets a really great example for other cities to be able to follow.
Yeah, no, for sure. And, before we go to break right here, one thing we haven't done in a while is our quote of the day. And we have one of your favorites right here. I got an iPad for you, Trey. Fannie Lou Hamer.
Yes.
I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And if you know the story of Fannie Lou Hamer, a tireless civil rights worker, man, turning out the vote down there in Mississippi, the Poor People's Party down there, and an icon. And when you talk about being sick and tired of being sick and tired, quote of the day, Fannie Lou Hamer.
This is one of my favorites. Oh, and the reason why is because of the story of Fannie Lou Hamer, somebody who really shared her story with Congress and made sure that people understood where she was coming from, but also such a champion of voter rights when it wasn't so popular. A lot of folks in the South understood that they were being held against their will in different ways when it came to, shotguns at the polls. I mean, we've talked about people losing their jobs. The voter suppression was so strong and stark back then. The fact that we're still dealing with voter suppression to this day is one of the most unfortunate things, because Fannie Lou Hamer really gave so much of her life and energy to ensure that people felt the need to vote, but also felt that the voice of the people that oftentimes were not being heard were being heard. That was really what part of this was about. Oh, so it's one of my favorite quotes for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing we don't have to worry about here in Martin Luther King County is voter suppression, because Director Wise is on the job. You know what I'm saying? You vote in this county.
Yeah, that's right. They make it so easily accessible. We don't even know what it's like.
You can vote. I visited some other places in our country. I won't go down this morning. But you got some places where counties as big as King County, and they got one box.
Yeah.
So, what I'm saying?
I mean, we talked about this with Director Wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other counties in the country could really learn from King County and what they're doing. Again, another entity that's setting a major example when it comes to voter accessibility.
All right, good stuff. We got a nice handcrafted motion graphic right here. We'll go ahead and throw that up. There it is. We got it up there. Up next, Director Julie Wise. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Lisa Gordon here on Converge Media, giving you that tip you didn't know you needed for Market Street Shoes over in Ballard. Check this out. Not only do they have great shoes for the summertime, but they have the shoes that you didn't even know you needed for the fall and winter. We all know it not only rains and snows a lot out here, so you definitely need those boots, but you also need a little bit of luggage, or at least a bag to put your clothes in, because let's be frank, we all love to get out of here during the fall and winter and go somewhere a little bit warmer. So whether you need accessories, shoes, or a little bit of luggage to jump on that plane, trust and believe Market Street Shoes has everything that you need. You just need to pull up and find it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media. Welcome back, everybody, to a special edition of the Morning Update Show right here from King County Elections in Renton. We are excited because joining us right now on set is Dr. Julie Wise, director right over here of King County Elections. Welcome to the Morning Update Show.
I am so excited you guys are here at the Department of Elections. I've been to your place, we've done it over Zoom, and now you're at my place, and I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, all around the gambit for sure. I love it.
Yeah, like your place is extra big. We might can we move it over here off election? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We got lots of space. Oh man, doctor, director.
Hey, I'll go with it.
Director Wise. Again, thanks for having us here and continuing on this message. And I think that it's a real good relationship that Converge Media has with King County Elections. And we've been able to follow this story from last year into in between the elections when you're like, hey, you know, we're trying to get more people not only to vote, but also to run for office. We saw that a lot of people came out and ran for office and a lot of diverse. And that was one of the things, too, is to get a lot of diverse candidates. And so we saw that. Then we talked before the primary and you told us not to be tardy for the party and then to get the vote in on time. And now we have this general election that's coming up. Before we get into some of the other things, tell us where we're at, what the numbers are looking like, and all that good stuff.
Absolutely. So what we're about just a little more than a week out from Election Day, which of course is November 2nd this year. And we've seen about 165,000 voters that have already returned their ballot. That's only about 9% of our voters here in King County. So all 1.4 million of them have their ballots, right? And now is the time to vote so that you're not tardy for the party. Get your ballot in, make sure that it's counted. So we're seeing this 9% is pretty on point to what we would expect at this point of the election. Seeing about 70% of our voters using the mail to return their ballot at this time. And then of course, 30% using the drop boxes. We'll see even more people head out to those drop boxes in the coming days.
Yeah, and real quick, how many drop boxes are there in King County?
There are 74 ballot drop boxes in King County. Just a couple weeks ago, we added our 74th at UW Bothell campus.
This is nice and it's amazing. And honestly, being here in this space, it brings about so many other questions for me, because when you talk about people dropping their ballots in the boxes versus the mail, what is the difference in terms of the return time? If somebody mails it in, how soon do you guys get it? And if somebody's doing it in the ballot box, how soon do you get it?
It's such a great question. You know, either one is a safe method in which to return your ballot. And neither one of those do you actually even have to have a stamp to return it, which I think is super cool in Washington State, something that King County pursued early on. And so what voters are going to see is typically it's going to take 2, maybe even 3 days for their ballot to make it through the United States Postal Service to get it back here to King County Elections headquarters. Where if you put it into a drop box, we're going to pick it up that day and bring it back to our facility. Either way is a great method. Really encourage voters, though, to use what I think is really snazzy is our ballot tracker. Jump online, put your name, your date of birth in, and know that your ballot got back to King County Elections. Regardless, we have teams of 2 following security and safety measures to bring ballots back from the United States Postal Service or from those 74 ballot drop boxes.
Awesome.
Right. And, you know, last time was over a year ago this time. And I remember I reached out to your office. I was surprised. It was like, oh, the director will talk to you. I reached out to your office because there was so much concern, especially around elders in our neighborhood, and not only in the central district, but I'm sure across the city and King County, when there was, let's talk about mailboxes and mailboxes being removed and how safe ballots were in mailboxes and everything else. I'll give you an opportunity to reinforce, the security and everything else around the ballots, dropping them in the mail.
You know, we're working with our postal partners every single day, especially during an election period, to ensure that there's no excess of transit time. We're watching ballots as they make their way out to our voters and as they come back through an intelligent mail barcode. And we saw that 99.8% of our ballots were in the hands of voters by Tuesday after we had mailed them out. And so we're really keeping a close eye on it. Ballots are not getting hung up in the mail system. It's a safe, secure method for us to be able to return our ballots. Again, you don't need a postmark. What I will encourage voters, though, is that If you're going to use the United States Postal Service, make sure your ballot is in the hands of the United States Postal Service by the Friday before Election Day. That's going to be this Friday. To ensure that you get that.
So this Friday.
This Friday. That ensures that you're going to get that all-important Election Day or before postmark. So if you're going to use the mail system, again, Friday before Election Day should always be your goal to have it in, or earlier. And if you wait after that Friday, then and you still want to use the United States Postal Service, no problem. But highly recommend you go into the actual post office, ensure you see that postmark of, again, Election Day or before, because that's our rules in Washington State. In order to count your ballot, it has to be received with that postmark. If you're not going to do the post office, use one of those drop boxes 24/7. You all know we've talked about this. 1,000-pound steel tanks secure out there for voters to use as long as it's before 8 p.m. Election Day.
Yeah, and when I pulled in today, I saw you guys have a ballot box right here on site as well. And people are coming in, getting questions answered before they vote. So you guys are really accessible. One of the questions that I asked you before, because you guys are doing such a great job of being on the front lines of this and being so innovative, as you just talked about, tracking the ballot, knowing exactly that these ballots are in the hands of the voters. How are other counties in the state taking, notice of what you guys are doing and maybe learning from some of the ways that you guys have ensured this voter process for us all in King County?
Well, thank you so much for that compliment. I mean, I really appreciate that. That is this team spirit, and you can feel that vibe, I feel like, when you walk in this building, right? These are individuals that are dedicated, that love their work, nonpartisan, good work to make sure that our voices are counted, that we're heard. And so they work tirelessly every single day to remove barriers, increase access. I really hope that we've been a good partner for the 38 other counties across Washington State, where we have led by example of how to voter education outreach. You guys know how much I love the voter education fund work that we do. And so I think that we've been really good stewards of election administration, and I hope that we've shared that with our partners across the state. We're always ones that, hey, want to copy, follow suit? That's a great form of flattery. Here's all of our things. Here's all the files. Feel free to use in your counties as well to help with that. So,
Director Wise, so humble up here. Don't worry. You stay humble. Let me do what they call a humble brag. King County Elections is a national leader, and people all across America, they send their folks up here to learn from what we're doing here in King County Elections. And that's represented not only at Director Wise, and I agree with you with the outstanding staff that's here and how committed and dedicated they are. And that professionalism exudes through this office. And that's why we're a national leader here when it comes to voting. Now, I know you might not say all that, so I'm going to say it on your behalf, Director.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Very true, Omari.
Want to talk to you a few things when we talk about elections. We want to make sure that everybody who votes, that their vote is counted. And one of the ways that ballots get caught up is signature. So maybe you could talk to us a little bit more about signature process and verifications and what happens if a signature is challenged.
I think it's one of the widest misconceptions, and I see it every time I get to do a tour here at the King County Elections facility. People's minds are blown. They're like, wait, you're actually looking at the signature on the back of my return envelope? Well, yes, why did you think you were doing it? What is it, just a test? So yes, we are comparing every single signature on the return envelope. So sign nicely or sign as you normally would. And we've got to compare that human eyes onto the ballot, comparing that to the signature that's on voters' records. That's how we safeguard vote by mail, right? Instead of going into polls, showing identification, which I think there's a whole host of issues with identification laws, you're signing your ballot. And that's what we need to use for a comparison. And what we have done a lot of work here internally and externally. We've seen data that shows that voters that speak other than English, young voters, and traditionally excluded communities here in King County have a higher rate of signature challenges. So we are dedicated all in making sure that we're communicating about that you have to sign your ballot and what we're comparing that to, that we're doing a good job of following up with our voters as well. Looking at a whole host of things, we've surveyed voters to try to get some more information for voters about how we can do a better job explaining this process, and some additional training for our staff as well, among other things. We'd like to look at a legislative approach. I mean, you know me, I could geek out, we could talk all day about different things that we need to do around signatures. So we're doing a lot of work here in regards to the signature comparison, but our current laws do say that signature has to match that signature on the voter file. I don't know about you two, but my signature does not always look the same, which is totally okay. We're looking for similarities, characteristics with similarities in it.
Right.
So if it is challenged, and I'm a voter, as you said, my signature is not always the same. If I ran into that issue, what then? What kind of recourse do I have as a voter to make sure that my vote is counted?
I'm so excited that here in Washington State, unlike other states, we know that you took time to get registered, get familiar with the candidates, and return your ballot. We are in the business of counting your vote. That's what we want to do. So we have 3 weeks after Election Day to still follow up with our voters to make sure that their ballot is counted. So that's all the way until November 22nd that we can still reach out to voters. So if we've got an issue with your signature, I've had my signature challenged 3 times. Don't tell anybody. We're going to reach out to them via mail, email, phone number if you've given that to us, and we're going to repeat until we get to that November 22nd, trying to reach out to the voter to get them to hear or fix that signature issue. So if you hear from us after Election Day, please do give us a call back so that we can get that resolved.
Yeah, and I mean it's real interesting what you just said, is that those different groups that are challenged, signatures are challenged.
Yeah.
Man, this is important. This signature, like let's see this process through. Like the director said, if you're going, you registered, you got a ballot, you reviewed your candidates, you've returned the ballot into the envelope and everything else. We need to make sure that you sign the ballot and take your time and sign the ballot correctly, so we can reduce the chances for a challenge on your ballot. I think that's what we hear loud and clear.
It's important for sure.
Yeah. Director wise, I know this was I just want to throw it out here about the restoration.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is something that I think is so near and dear to really maybe those same communities. I mean, you're just communities all over. But when we talk about, for me, I'm always thinking about the Black community, right? And, when we think about restoration of voter rights, we want to hear your take on this. I know it's going to be taking effect next year. Tell us more about this.
I am so excited. Legislators made the right call with the bill that they've recently passed. As you said, it's going to take effect January 1st, 2022. What this does is this creates clarity. What we're seeing here is that instead of having to talk about probation or being under community custody, now if you have been incarcerated for a felony, the minute that you are no longer in jail, no longer incarcerated, you are able to get registered and to vote. You are part of our community, and we want you engaged in our community. And no better way of doing that, in my humble opinion, as the director of elections, is by voting, right? And so we really want to make sure that this is clear and understandable for voters. Before, there was a lot of confusion. Contact the Department of Corrections to see if you're in community custody. Are you done with your probation? This is very confusing. This disenfranchised an additional tens of thousands of voters just across Washington State alone. So legislators made the right call here. Now, for being eligible to get registered and be voting in elections, if you're not incarcerated, you are eligible and you should be voting, and encourage people to do that. We're, of course, going to do a lot of outreach to our community around that so that people get this message. And of course, working with our local jails here in King County, when people do get out, that we're communicating and providing them with a voter registration form as soon as they do.
I love that you talked about the outreach because that was really my next question. I mean, when I think about oftentimes how messages get out there in community, it's working alongside community organizations as well and different individuals who are really steeped in, breaking out that prison, school to prison pipeline and doing prison reform and education. So I love hearing that you guys are doing some really strong efforts to be sure that people are aware of this because oftentimes that's the biggest barrier. Uh, how excited are you? Because I can hear it already when you talk about this. I mean, you're talking about legislators getting it right. And how excited are you to be able to actually now count those tens of thousands of votes coming from King County, those who have been incarcerated, getting released, and being able to be a part of the voting process?
There was so much confusion around this before. We saw people that were out in the field trying to just get people registered to vote, and people were understandably scared. If they can't understand what the law is, they can't understand what that declaration that they're signing, you're disenfranchising even more people because they don't want to get in trouble. They don't want to break the law. These are individuals that we're welcoming into our community, that we need engaged in our community, and they should be voting. This also simplifies language and makes it more accessible. So I'm really excited, but you're absolutely right. There's lots of laws that pass. If you're not going to take the time to educate your community and let people know of this, then to what good is it? So I love, I'll say it again, it's a voter education fund. We're looking really forward to continue to support community-based organizations, like you said, trusted messengers in the community to get this word out.
Yeah, I think what's interesting too is that this law is transformational as far as restoration, and I think that we just kind of got to call it like we see it. Like what happened, at least in my opinion, was that the face of a felon really shifted to the actual pure number of people who have felonies. And so, the face of a felon or somebody who don't want to vote, oftentimes people associate that with black people. But more white people in this state are going to be enfranchised with this law. Believe me, they're going to. But for a long time, and that's why I think that you saw a shift here. It was that legislator over, I think, in Kitsap, one of the counties out in the western part of the state, you know what I'm saying, who really pushed for that. And the face of a felon changed, and the legislator's like, what? A felon look like me. and so we see this, but I just want to make sure the public, everybody's not clear, because that is something that we feed into a lot through media, is that this is black people's being able to vote. No, if you go by the numbers here in this state, it's way more white people who are going to be able to vote. And all these people, people deserve the whole point. If you went to prison, you know what I'm saying, and you served your time, you should be able to come back into society, irregardless of race, color, creed, or anything else. So I know you're definitely excited about that. Director-wise, before we let you go, we always give you time on the mic. Go, and what we want to do, go ahead and switch that camera up, Salman. We want to put it on Director-wise. There you go. We want you to speak to the voters here in King County. You tell them what you want them to know.
This is where I get a little weird and say things like, don't be tardy for the party. So let's see how this one goes. King County voters, it is such a privilege to serve you all. And we are here, as you can tell, we're waiting. We're waiting for your ballot. So now is the time to get voting. If that's happy hour with friends, if that's sitting at the coffee table by yourself and voting, get to it. You've got 2 voter pamphlets, one from King County, one from Washington State, and of course you have your ballot. If you do not have any of those things and you need us, don't ever hesitate to reach out to your friends here at King County Elections at 206-296-VOTE. Or check us out on our website. Plenty of services you can do, like getting a replacement ballot right online. Make sure that you vote. Local elections matter. I can't stress this enough. I know we turn out big, almost 90% big here in King County for presidential, but these elections matter more. They shape your day-to-day lives, policing, parks, sewers, all the things. You want to make sure that your voice is heard in this election. Encourage you to do so. November 2nd is the deadline, though. Get your ballots in. Happy voting.
All right.
There it is.
Look,
Look.
Director Wise is on streamline
Yeah,
over there. We
look,
done
she
done
knows
enough
it.
of these now, huh?
Yeah, she
I
knows
think,
got the
last
message
time,
well. Yeah.
last time you was like 5 minutes in. You know what I'm saying?
I know I did get a lot.
No. But you know what? You're absolutely right. I mean, happy voting out there. And honestly, we love being able to come here and make sure that the community is engaged and informed because we know how important these local elections are. I love that you just said that and made that message loud and clear. We need our folks to show up in the droves, just like we do in the presidential election. We need 90+%, right? I agree.
Yeah, and I will say this is that as convenient as it is, I want to remind everybody that social media that it's not connected here to King County elections or any election authority. So although some of you are very loud and very active on the internet, and you cast your vote daily in every comment and retweet, my friend, this is the real vote right here. So as we always like to say, get up, get out, go vote. Director Julie Wise, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you both.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, the Morning Update Show continues.
It's Gordon here on Converge Media, giving you that tip you didn't know you needed for Market Street Shoes over in Ballard. Check this out. Not only do they have great shoes for the summertime, but they have the shoes that you didn't even know you needed for the fall and winter. We all know it not only rains and snows a lot out here, so you definitely need those boots, but you also need a little bit of luggage, or at least a bag to put your clothes in, because let's be frank, we all love to get out of here during the fall and winter and go somewhere a little bit warmer. So whether you need accessories, shoes, or a little bit of luggage to jump on that plane, trust and believe Market Street Shoes has everything that you need. You just need to pull up and find it.
Welcome back, everybody. Are we back? Okay, thanks. I couldn't tell. Oh man, this has been a great show. Great energy today. Welcome back to the special edition of the Morning Update Show right here at King County Elections. Man, Director Julie Wise always brings that energy, man. Again, as we said, I don't know anybody who's as enthusiastic about the voting process, and rightfully so, because King County is getting it right.
Yeah, I mean, we're fortunate here in King County that we have these dedicated professionals here when it comes to voting. And King County really is, I mean, this is one thing, see, for sure. And I think one thing that's missing, and when we talk about government and we talk about things, is that we're always real quick to criticize government, but when government is doing something right, a lot of times we stay quiet.
Yeah.
And I think that it's important. Like King County elections is, man, they're getting it right, and they keep innovating here. They're a national leader, and they've made it to the point that really you, average citizen here in King County, you have no excuse not to get out and vote.
Hey, we're always pushing the message of no excuses, and I agree 100%. With 74 ballot boxes out there throughout the county, Director Wise made it very clear that the accessibility to voting is there. And come January 1st of 2022, those who have been incarcerated for a felony, you guys won't have any excuses either, because you'll be able to register as soon as you're released, and you'll be able to be a part of the voting process. And so honestly, you're absolutely right. There's no excuses. And my thing is this, okay? We talk about the national election all the time, presidential election, but when we think about the people that are wielding the most power right here in our locale, we need to understand that these local elections are the most important for us to be engaged in the process. I love what you said about folks that are on the internet, always to giving their vote every day.
I mean,
but this
on,
is the stuff that counts right here.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that it takes this, but I had to remind people, regardless of however you're voting, I had to remind people, for at least us here in the municipality of Seattle, that what our city went through, and I know with us at Converge, what we went through, my friend, don't you telling me you're not voting? you know, it's yeah. I mean, I couldn't imagine, because right now, you know, and this is a very nonpartisan show here today at a nonpartisan location. So, you know, I mean, we don't need to talk about candidates or this and
Right.
that, but we will say that for sure that this election is such a big deal. You know, it's such a big deal when you talk about the mayor of the 10th biggest city in America, the executive of one of the biggest and wealthiest counties in America. When you talk about city council members, when you talk about port commissioners, you know, that port's a big deal out there. You know,
Definitely.
when you're talking about school board directors, see, these are the people that actually do impact your everyday life. These things impact your everyday life, but this is where we leave it on the table. And I want to challenge. I know in Seattle, it's 58%. 58% of y'all stayed home during the primary. You guys are going to be the difference in the general election. See, a lot of people have already factored in that the 58, they're going to be at home, no big deal, this and that, and maybe a route is to keep you at home. But that 58% is going to be who's going to make the difference in this election. So you really can impact this election. Like, you know, you're obligated.
No, I agree. I think the obligation is clear. And as we've talked about here today, clearly the opportunity is wide for you to participate in this local vote. This general election is going to be huge, as Omari said. And honestly, the truth of the matter is that I almost can't even have the discussion if people are talking about not voting, because really we have dealt with a lot throughout King County. We really have, and we have understood the need to have the leaders that reflect your values, your personal strategies, and the ways that you want to see the city approaching certain issues. You need to have the right leaders in place, period. You can't complain about something if you're not participating.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'll let you know right now. Yeah, we're not gonna have a really good conversation if you're one of those. Yeah, I'm not voting because. Oh, okay. You know, you know what I'm saying? It's you know, like I said, we went through a lot. We went through a lot, and I'm not trying to tell nobody how to vote or vote this color or vote this whatever, but I'm just telling you, you need to vote. And you know, we were committed last year, committed this year. We're gonna stay committed to this very important message. And you know, King County Elections is one of the most accessible elections agencies in America.
Yeah.
And you know, if anybody, so I would say this: you go to King County Elections to their website, follow them on social. These guys are active on their social media. I don't see them. Somebody's tweeting like, "Hey, where's the Dropbox at?" they get right back to you. And Director Wise said it best: they're in the business of counting the votes. You know, so I just man, I can't speak on it enough. This was, you know, we made some PSAs. And making that PSA, the last one I made, it was emotional because, like I said, I had to think about it. I was like, yo, we got to really remind people.
Yeah, it's important. At the end of the day, we're talking about 58% of the folks not showing up to the primary election. That says a lot. You know, people are so stuck on this presidential election. And as Director Wise said, you know, when we have those votes, it's over 90%, you know, that are participating. What we need to see is those numbers and above participating now. You guys, you have the power. And as you've said before, take your stake back, take your claim back in this country and participate. Voting is one of the easiest ways that you can participate in the civic engagement process. And it's on all of us to really take that in and personalize it for ourselves. There are candidates out there that reflect some things that you may want to see happen, but they're not going to get into those spots if you are not voting for them. So ultimately, it really is on you to take this on and be sure that your vote is counted. Make sure you drop it in the ballot, or like she said, put it in the mail by this Friday, so that your vote can count.
Just don't be tardy for that party.
Don't be tardy for that party.
You already know. You know what? With elections, we can't do it during election season. But November 3rd or I guess maybe November 22nd or whatever they're done curing votes, we're coming out with our Director Wise parody commercial. You know what I'm saying?
Love
Be
it.
like, Trey, come on, man. We're on our way to the party.
Right. We can't be tardy.
You can't be tardy. All right, so we do got some news here real quick before we get out of here. Is this Wednesday at 5 o'clock, broadcasting live from Converge Media Studios. We have a debate that's going on between King County Executive Dow Constantine and Challenger State Senator Joe Wynn. That's going to be broadcast live from Converge Media Studios, presented by Rainier Avenue Radio and powered by South Seattle Emerald. So tune in there at 5 o'clock, and we'll check you out there. You know, Trey, it was good to see you today.
I know, it's great to be here. Great to have our show again. I was like, oh, this feels like home. It's beautiful.
Yeah, no, they got lots of space out here. Like I said, we might have to follow up in December, build some sets out here.
Yeah, it's looking really nice. Great shout out to all of the crew over there making this happen this morning. It's been beautiful.
Definitely. Before we get out of here, big shout out to Carlos Imani, Jake Grabrot, Daryl, Dancing in the Rain, Glover. Who we got over there? Steve Hickey and Salman Abukashi. I get it right?
Got
My man. All right. On that note, any last words, Trey?
You know, for me, you guys, the message is going to stay the same. Clearly, here today, we have shown you guys a way that you can be a part of the solution by making sure that your vote is counted. Please make sure your ballot is in that box in time for your vote to be counted, and see yourself as a part of the solution. It's the easiest way that you can do that.
All right. On that note, we're going to get out of here. Want to remind you, go forward in your purpose, go forward in your humanity. And until we see you again, peace.
Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rise.